to my YouTube channel. I'm Dinyeko Chabalala. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. If you are joining me for the very first time, a warm welcome to you. But if you are not, thank you so much for joining me again. Okay, disclaimer, guys. In the story that I'm going to tell, I am not saying that all nurses are like that. I am not saying that all public medical facilities are like that. I am telling my story and I am telling my experience. Okay? Cool. So it was on the 8th of January 2016. I was pregnant and I woke up that morning with Brixton Hicks. It was on a Friday morning. I think it was around 7 a.m. So I wake up, I'm feeling sickish. It's not painful, it is contractions, but they're not painful, they're just a little uncomfortable. I wake up, okay, I take a bath, and then I go back to bed. I think it was at around 11 o'clock. I go to the bathroom, then boom, the show. I call my sister, and my sister takes me to the clinic. I get to the clinic, they do a little checkup, they check my blood pressure and everything, and they say, okay, you are 8 centimeters dilated, so you're not gonna go back home, we're gonna keep you here. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I stay at the clinic, and then, okay, my sister kept coming to check me up. Okay, fine. I stayed the whole day at the clinic. Okay, they kept checking my BP and everything, and then I think it was around 4 o'clock. My water broke at 4 o'clock. Okay, they do another check-up. Okay, and then the nurse says to me, okay, probably around 8 o'clock in the afternoon or in the evening, you'll give birth. I'm like, oh, okay. Around, okay, another one. 6 o'clock, the shift changes. So those nurses that were with me in the morning shift are now leaving. So the other ones are coming. Okay, I think they do a little handover that, okay, this patient is what. Okay, fine. I stay, and then I think it was around 8 o'clock. My mom and my sister, they come to check up on me. I'm still like that. I'm in pain as hell. Nothing is happening. Okay, and then they go back home because they couldn't stay with me for long. I'm at a clinic, but I'm not going to mention names. Okay, and then I was told to, because I was wearing a dress, then around that time I'm told to change into like a night dress. Okay, fine. I'm like, okay, I change. I remember when I was walking in the corridor, I was actually going to the bathroom. One of the nurses said, you are not in pain now, you're even wearing an evening dress. And then I said to her, it's not an evening dress, it's a night dress. And then she said to me, we are still going to see. At that moment I couldn't understand, but only at a later stage when everything happened I understand why she was saying that. And I actually realized that I just want to sprinkle this. It does happen that you see a person for the very first time and you just don't like them. Your spirits just don't click and you don't know why. So I think that is exactly what happened between me and that nurse, because she really did give me a hard time. I was seeing her for the first time. I hadn't said anything to her, but she just didn't like me. Even the comments that she was making, they were not nice. Okay, we move. So I remember her calling me for a checkup. You know, even the manner that she was calling me, like, Tinyiko, come here, you know? And then I went there. She said to me, the bed was like a little high. So she said to me, climb on the bed. And I was struggling to climb on the bed. I was struggling. I couldn't even lift my feet. She said to me, please climb on the bed. You are wasting my time. And I said, it's so difficult for me to climb on the bed. And then she walked away. She left me in the room. There were moments where I wanted to cry. But I kept reminding myself that it won't last forever. I'm only here for like a few hours. Then I'm going to go back home and forget about this. Little did I know that it was just the beginning. Fine. She came back and then she checked my BP while I was standing because I literally couldn't climb the bed, and she didn't even offer to help me, maybe like hold my hand, because honestly I was in so much pain. I couldn't even lift my feet and I was swollen, like my feet were swollen. I go back to where the others are. I stay there. I think it was around 10 o'clock. I'm still in pain, drastic pain. And then it was around 10 o'clock. They switched off the lights. I don't know if my pain wanted the light, because as soon as the lights went off, it went down. I was in tremendous pain. I had never experienced that kind of pain in my life. It was terrible. I kept on screaming and screaming, and the lights were off. And she kept on saying, Tinyiko, you are making noise. Stop it. You are making noise. You know, and I couldn't understand. I kept asking myself, is this person even a mother? How can she not understand? She was like, keep quiet. You know, if you have given birth before, you know that the pain, the labor pain actually makes you want to push. You understand? So that is how you react to the pain. You know, you that woman, guys. So she kept saying, why are you pushing? Like, unga push it. Why are you pushing? Do you want to give birth to that baby like on your own? You understand? And you know, the most bizarre thing is that she kept screaming like that and saying all those things while I was screaming at the top of my lungs in the clinic at night, in the darkness. Not even once did she come to check up on me. Not even once did she come to check why I was screaming so loud. Until in the morning, I didn't sleep. I was on my feet the whole night screaming. I remember in the morning, the shifts were changing again. So this means that the nurses that left me, now they're coming back and they still find me there. So there was this particular nurse, God bless her soul, such an angel. You know, when she came into the ward, she said, no ways. There is no ways that Nico, you are still here. There is no way. At that time, I am pale, guys. I've ran out of tears. I'm not even crying. I'm just shaking. I'm crumbling. I'm in so much pain. I'm even numb. And I said to her, I'm still here. And she said, no, there must be something wrong. They could have picked it up at night that there is something wrong with you. I expected you to give birth at 8 o'clock because your water broke at 4 o'clock. There is no way that you're still here right now. And then she took me to the labor room, and then she started like checking on me, and she didn't say anything. I just saw her face. I started crying, guys. Like, she didn't say anything, but I could see that whatever it is that she was going to tell me, it's terrifying because of the way her facial expression was. She said to me, please relax. Try to relax, but it is not looking good. And then I asked what was wrong, and then she explained to me. She said, you have suffered something that we called second stage delay. And I'm like, what is that? And she said, it is when the water has come out and you were supposed to have given birth, but you still haven't. So the baby is supposed to be out by now. So what has happened is your baby has pooped inside of you. So there's feces in your stomach. Guys, I've never cried so much. And I'm like, is my baby okay? She said, for now, she's still alive. But if we continue keeping her, if we keep her any longer than this in your stomach, then she's not going to make it, and you also might not make it. So while she's talking to me, she's actually calling an ambulance. She calls an ambulance. By God's grace, the ambulance arrives maybe in like 15 minutes, I think it was around. And then they come, they put me on the stretcher, and they put me inside the ambulance. And you know, she said, there is no way I'm letting her go on her own, because I know that in public hospitals, she is not going to make it. We are going to lose a mother and an unborn child. So I'm gonna go with her and make sure that she gets help. She climbs into the ambulance with me. Like, really, just God bless this woman. I was in so much pain. I was in a very critical condition. I don't even remember her name. I don't even remember her face. I don't remember how she looked, you know, but I do remember that she was light in complexion, and I think she had dreadlocks or something. Oh, but she's an angel, a living angel. So she climbs into the ambulance with me. Throughout, when we were driving to the hospital, she was holding my hand, and I said to her, is my baby going to leave? This is my first child, you know? And she said to me, I'm so sorry that on your first encounter you had to go through something like this, you know? She was holding my hand the whole time. And when we got to the hospital, she ran into the emergency room, and she asked to see a surgeon. She requested to see a surgeon, and there was a long queue. I heard them talking that today the hospital is very busy. There's a long queue. And then she called the surgeon. I was now in the labor room, and they were still preparing me, and they were also trying to make me push if I still can. But I had lost like so much energy. I had lost water. I hadn't eaten in hours, so I had no energy anymore like left in me. I was exhausted, you know. I was in so much, like, you know, when you are in so much pain that you honestly cannot do anything anymore. You are just there, you know. And then she says, oh, okay. She calls the surgeon. The surgeon walks in, and then he starts like checking up on me. And he said, you are going to be next, because if an hour from now passes and the baby is still in that stomach, you and your baby are not going to make it. So you are going to be next. Give me 20 minutes. I'm still busy with someone else. That was the longest 20 minutes of my life, listening to my daughter's heartbeat. It was the longest 20 minutes, praying that it doesn't stop. I was not focusing on the pain anymore. I was focusing on the sound of the machine, making sure that it is still beating. It is still giving me that sound, and that gave me hope that, okay, she's still alive, she's still alive. And then after that 20 minutes, they came to get me. They put me on the stretcher. Guys, I was in so much pain. I couldn't even feel the epidural. I know they say it's painful, but I couldn't feel it. And the surgeon was actually surprised that you didn't feel that pain. That is how much pain I was in. And then I was taken to the theater. I think it was now around like 2 o'clock. I think it was 12 to. I don't remember the time very well. And then I was taken to the theater, and then they started operating on me. Guys, they had not put me to sleep, so I was just numb, you know. I remember that moment when I heard her cry. I whipped into tears. It was tears of joy, and I was thanking God. I was saying, God, thank you so much. Because I remember when I was in I was still at the clinic, and she was telling me that I've suffered second stage delay, and she was explaining what it was to me. I said to God, God, if this is how you're going to take me, at least make me a mother. Can I just depart this world as a mother? Give whatever life that you were going to give me to my child. And I was so happy at that moment. But the only sad thing was that my child had burned from the feces. She was literally black, like someone who was burnt. That's how hot feces are. So, but then they told me that she is going to be fine. They took her to the ICU like for a few hours because the dirty water had gotten inside her nostrils, so they said they needed to drain that. So she was kept in ICU for a few hours before she was returned to me in the ward. And that is my story. That is the most traumatic experience I've ever gone through. It took me time to get over it, and till this day I'm actually afraid of having another child because of my terrible first experience. And throughout that experience, I kept thinking to myself that now I really think that people die in hospitals due to negligence. The nurses are neglecting us. As I said before, I'm not saying all of them are like that, because I actually met an angel who really saved my life, because had it not been for that woman, I think I wouldn't have made it that day. But there's also the ones who fail us, like the one who was screaming at me at the clinic, who kept telling me not to push instead of coming to check on me. Why am I screaming so much? Because she could have prevented all this, because she could have noticed that there's something wrong at night and actually taken me to the hospital during the night. You understand? So, you know, I am fortunate because throughout that experience, I still came with my baby home. What is sad is that there's women who go through all these experiences, you know, and they either lose their lives and they don't even come back with their babies home. And it is so sad. And it is due to things like these, you understand. I really do hope, and I do believe that our nurses can do better. They really can. I repeat, I am not saying all of them are like that, but this is my story, and this is what I experienced giving birth at a public hospital. Thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next time.